Magneto is going to be the MVP of Avengers Doomsday, and his role in this film in the fight against Dr. Doom is going to make for the most epic moment in Marvel movie history. Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush, I'm Colton Ogburn, and Avengers Doomsday has been releasing weekly character-based teaser trailers in front of Avatar Fire and Ash, and then they release it officially online a week later. So far, we've gotten Steve Rogers in the introduction of his son, we got the return of Thor and his prayer for Odin's power to defeat Doom and return to his daughter Love, and then came the X-Men trailer narrated by the man himself, Ian Mckellen's Magneto. And we have now got a fourth trailer that has leaked and will be released probably within the week, and that one features Black Panther, King M'Baku, Namor, and The Thing. So these have all been great trailers if you ask me, and rumor has it that there are more to come. But I must say that my favorite thus far has been the X-Men one, specifically because of Magneto's speech.
Who will you be when you close your eyes?
This line from Magneto isn't one about fear, it's one about legacy. And we have talked before about how these teaser trailers for Doomsday have been all about not only nostalgia for the old school Marvel, or even the old school MCU, but about the legacy that they have left behind. Showing Steve Rogers and Thor with children, that is a thematic way of telling a story of generational change and the existence of that next chapter that all of these heroes had fought so hard for in their previous films. This entire saga has been about legacy, and Doomsday will be no different. Now, there's of course the meta nature of the MCU trying to maintain its own legacy that has no doubt been wounded by a somewhat lackluster era following Endgame. The stories and the themes of the shows and movies that we have gotten thus far for the multiverse saga have all been about the legacy that our heroes want to leave behind and the legacies that they want to do right by. Loki doesn't want to be the villain, he wants to do something meaningful, and he basically sacrifices himself and his own freedoms so that others can be free, and he becomes the god that everyone needs him to be. Sam Wilson is struggling with the overbearing weight of the Captain America shield and what it means to be Captain America. The Thunderbolts are new Avengers
With the Z.
They are trying to prove themselves as worthy of taking up the mantle of Earth's mightiest heroes. In Spider-Man No Way Home, that movie was all about legacy. Legacy villains, legacy versions of Spider-Man. Peter was met with literal older versions of himself who have helped guide Peter to becoming the selfless hero that he knows he can be. Now, another key way that they are really leaning on that theme of legacy in these Avengers Doomsday trailers is by showing our heroes having children. The teasers themselves have shown our OGs like Steve Rogers and Thor with children, which can represent the legacy that they are going to leave behind and the piece of themselves that will go on into the future. And again, children have been a continuing theme in this entire saga. Hulk has a kid, T'Challa had a kid, the Fantastic Four have a kid, Wanda and Vision had kids. We saw Thor become an adoptive father. You get the point. So the question then becomes, well then how does this tie to the X-Men? Well, I think that Cyclops is losing his shit in this trailer because his daughter, Rachel Summers, has been taken by Doom for her Phoenix Force power, the same way that I think Doom has come for Franklin and likely for Love, both for their cosmic powers as well. Now, as for Professor Xavier, he's always served in a father figure type role to his X-Men, especially to Scott, but really to all of his students. And we've even heard Magneto refer to Xavier's students as Xavier's children.
And your children.
But in this X-Men trailer, it wasn't Cyclops narrating, it wasn't Professor X narrating, it was Magneto. He is the one doing the talking. So what is this big plot line that they are teasing here? Well, we know that Magneto has had a daughter in the Fox X-Men timeline, one that was taken from him at a young age. There's also Quicksilver, who is his son, and in the comics, Wanda Maximoff is his daughter, so maybe they'll touch on that in Doomsday or Secret Wars. But I think the child here for Magneto, which would represent the legacy that he wants to leave behind, is not represented by any particular kid, but instead represented by mutant kind. This speech that he is giving in this trailer is one of sought redemption. Magneto has spent his entire life preparing for his eventual death and a goal for what the world would look like for mutants in the future.
We are the future, Charles, not them.
Now, we have to remember that Magneto is a Holocaust survivor, so he's already experienced discrimination from a young age based on the fact that he was Jewish. But then he went on to experience even more discrimination for the fact that he was a mutant. Now, in the X-Men films, death is never the thing that Magneto is afraid of. Dying without having a secured future for his people is his true greatest fear. I mean, if you think about it, Magneto is the biggest doomsday prepper in the entire Marvel universe, even above Tony Stark. Magneto is constantly thinking about the future, the coming apocalypse, and the war between humanity and mutants. And he has a determination for survival, which really plays in well with the evolution aspect to mutation and survival of the fittest. Now, there's something much we don't get to talk about on the channel, and that's how much our viewers and a lot of our staff here at ScreenCrush love video games. I've watched our team play so many hours of Assassin's Creed that I feel like I could really do parkour, even though I would actually look like this. Parkour! And that is why I was excited to find out that Assassin's Creed is partnering with one of the most popular games of all time, which has 5 million monthly users. And now I am stoked to have Raid sponsoring this video because of their partnership with Assassin's Creed. For a limited time, 5 assassins are joining Raid. The assassins have been faithfully recreated from the original Assassin's Creed games, and this feels like 2 of your favorite games are taking place in the same universe. And you should take advantage of the Ezio Chase events. Just log into Raid for 7 days starting on January 7th to get Ezio for free. Then keep logging in to get more rewards and gear to upgrade him fast. And Kassandra is the first champion from Raid's newest faction, the Argonites. Raid is going crazy this month with giveaways for new players. Again, if you use my link or QR code, you will get a huge starter pack with legendary champion Karato, plus Epic's Uugo level 10 and Rector Drath level 20. New players can pick from 5 promo codes for legendaries, and I recommend using code TreeHugger to get the Green Warden Ruark. Now, this is a time-limited offer that expires soon, so be sure to use my link to get these bonuses today. Now, back to what I was saying. So again, I think here in this teaser, Magneto is giving a speech to a group of our heroes, not just an intimate conversation with Charles. And this speech echoes his philosophies from those previous X-Men films, yet it simultaneously embraces a more inclusive approach to life itself. Throughout the X-Men films, Magneto has oscillated between hero and villain, savior and extremist, and sometimes he is absolutely right about humanity's cruelty. But other times, he becomes the very monster that he claims to be fighting against. Magneto's heel turns always come from the same place, that being fear that mutants will once again be victims. But what's crucial here in this teaser is that Magneto no longer sounds angry. We even see him have that really big smile. And I think, just like in Days of Future Past, apocalyptic future, I think that Magneto in Doomsday has realized that he and Xavier's constant fighting has hurt the cause. Now, when he says death comes for us all, he is acknowledging something that he has always known. But what's new is the second half of the thought. He has come to the conclusion that who you are at the end, when you close your eyes, is far more important than how long you survive or how you die. The legacy that you leave behind, even in death, is what will truly matter when it's all said and done. And I think Magneto is realizing that the best thing that he can be for mutant kind is, yes, a fighter, but also a good example for future generations.
What have I done?
Magneto is being faced with a hard look in the mirror, and this approaching Doomsday for the multiverse really puts into perspective just how insignificant this battle between humans and mutants has been. And as Magneto comes face to face with Dr. Doom, a tyrant who thinks he knows what's best for everyone and doesn't care how many people he has to kill to achieve that peace, this is Magneto personified. And this is Magneto getting a look at his greatest foe, himself. I think we are going to have some awesome lines in Avengers Doomsday between Magneto and Dr. Doom, where they talk about their shared ideas, but Magneto, as the elder statesman, will educate Doom on just how wrong he is and how he has come to learn that doing things the way that Doom is trying to do them will never work. Alright, and now I want to talk about the look of Magneto in this trailer, because it really reinforces this shift in his character that I think we're seeing. You know, he used to prance around in a cape and a fancy costume and his helmet, and he'd act all I'm better than you, but in this look from Doomsday, he appears like a little disheveled. His hair is long and messy. He's of course older, his clothes look tattered, and it really gives the impression that he has retired from the fight. While Professor Xavier, on the other hand, still looks really put together. He's in his uniform, he's still living in the X-Mansion, and looks like he's still operating the school. And I think this contrast between these two characters and where they are at in this specific moment of their lives is telling an entire story without saying a word. It implies that in this world, Magneto has accepted that his way of doing things was wrong, and that he tarnished his own legacy with violence and reversed bigotry toward humans. But now, as he enters the closing chapter of his life, he has found the opportunity to undo that legacy and replace it with a positive one that can create a better future for all of life. And Magneto is prepared to lay his life down in order to save all of existence. Now, Magneto's speech in this trailer, it isn't one where he is telling them to fight for their own survival. He is instead asking them to fight for who they will be and how they will be remembered when survival is no longer guaranteed. Magneto spent decades, hell, the better part of a century, justifying morally questionable actions in the name of survival. Again, going back to that survival of the fittest mentality. But now he realizes that in order for mutant kind to survive, life itself has to survive and be able to live in harmony. And again, the multiversal scale of this fight has put things in perspective for him. And that is all why I think dude is totally going to die in Avengers Doomsday. Not as a villain or even as an anti-hero, but as a person who finally stopped trying to stand above others and instead stand with others. Magneto is not only going to stand with the X-Men, but he's going to stand with all of mutant kind and all of mankind. Hell, with all life in the universe and the universes beyond his own, so that they can all be able to continue on living their lives and buy ScreenCrush Doomsday inspired merch that we have up on our merch store right now, ScreenCrushmerch.com.
Have you no shame?
Now, I think Magneto is going to die in an absolute blaze of glory. A badass, self-sacrificial moment where he stands toe-to-toe with Doom as one of the only characters in this film that can actually give the God Emperor a run for his money. And you know, I always assumed that Magneto would have a huge fight with Doom in this movie, and that the two, would not be teaming up or anything like that. But I did think that Magneto would still serve as a bit of a thorn in the side of Xavier, like he usually does when the two are fighting for the same thing, but in very different ways. What I originally thought we would see is Universe 616, the mainline MCU, and Universe 10005, the Fox X-Men universe, they would begin to collide via incursion. And I thought that Magneto, in his typical us-over-them isolationist mentality, would take the approach of, we have to destroy that other universe before it destroys ours. Kind of like the whole boat scene from The Dark Knight.
So, who's it gonna be? Harvey Dent's most wanted scumbag collection, or the sweet and innocent civilian?
I thought we would see Magneto making the argument that they have to fight and save their own, which is what he has always done with his war against humanity to protect mutants, and now we would see it on a scale of, we have to protect our Earth, which means if we have to destroy another Earth, fine by me. But then Xavier would take his typical approach of, no, we need not be enemies, let's find a way, no matter how difficult it is to coexist, and even if it means failure, we must do the right thing. And I thought the two would clash over that. And that will play into how Xavier has never been the one to take the easier path. He will not be on board with destroying another reality, and instead he will insist that they embark on the more dangerous path and risking the death of both universes in hopes of trying to find a way out of this. And he can die knowing that even if he fails and the entire multiverse collapses, he will still have preserved his own legacy of never stooping to genocide. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Magneto. He is coming to that same realization. He is not falling back into his old ways to fight Doom. He is following the lead of his old friend to fight Doom. Magneto finally understands that a future built on blood isn't one worth fighting for, and that the more difficult, less traveled road is the only one worth taking. But hey, that doesn't mean that there won't be some bloodshed, because I think Magneto is totally gonna make Doom bleed. And while he may not be able to defeat Doom, he will definitely give him a run for his money, and I think Magneto will die in a way that sets the stage for our surviving heroes to finish the fight and save the future, a future worth fighting for. But hey, those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below, and if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. For ScreenCrush, I'm Colton Ogburn.